Welcome to Teaching Plus, a podcast for the enhancement of teaching and about the issues and strategies that matter to post-secondary instructors. My name is Brian Bro, and I am an educational developer with the Center for Teaching and Learning at the U of A. On today's episode, I am speaking with Dr. Cosette Lemelin, the Assistant Director of the Center for Teaching and Learning. We're going to hear about what's coming up for the Center for Teaching and Learning in the coming year, what educational trends are on the horizon, and how this will impact the teaching community here at the U of A. So hello, Cosette, and welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
Now, to begin, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit more about your background and how it has led you to your position right now?
I have been an educator for about 25 years, and of that time, I've worked in adult education for 20 years. The vast majority of that has been at 3 Canadian universities, 3 Western Canadian universities. I started as an instructor, and I always really enjoyed teaching at the university. And eventually I started really by giving lots of advice to fellow colleagues, helping fellow colleagues out with different aspects of their instruction. And I realized that there was a need for support for instructors for their teaching. In this instance, it was in a health professions faculty. So I approached them and offered to be what we now call an educational developer within their faculty. And they took me up on it. And I've been doing that type of work ever since. It's been 17 or 18 years helping instructors to improve their teaching. And I really enjoy it.
For those that aren't familiar with the Center for Teaching and Learning, or CTL for short, can you briefly talk about what CTL does for the U of A community?
The Center for Teaching and Learning partners with instructors and programs in an effort to create engaging and meaningful learning experiences for our U of A students. In practical terms, this means that the vast majority of our instructors have not received formal training in how to teach. They are subject matter experts who have developed an expertise that they teach through, and so we are available as a unit to support them in learning how to provide more effective instruction. Our unit started at the University of Alberta as a standing committee for GFC in the early 1970s, and eventually, after offering many, many teaching and learning workshops, became University Teaching Services by 1991. This service grew and became the Center for Teaching and Learning by 2009. So no matter what we've been called in the history of our unit at the University of Alberta, we've been focusing on helping instructors to improve their teaching through strategies like offering workshops, meeting individually with instructors, asking more experienced instructors to provide some peer feedback, hosting large events like the Festival of Teaching and Learning, and more recently, using new technologies and innovations like podcasts, videos, webinars to share effective teaching ideas. At the Center for Teaching and Learning, we're in a really unique position compared to many units within the University of Alberta. We are under the Vice Provost's Learning Initiative specifically, so there are strategic priorities and initiatives that come down from the vice provosts that impact the work that we do in our unit. But we're also always listening and having conversations with instructors across the different faculties and departments at the U of A to find out what are their learning needs, what are their ideas about teaching, what are their requests for teaching. Most of our center is comprised of educational developers or instructional designers or educational technologists. We are essentially folks who have training, advanced degrees in education or education-related fields, and we coach, guide, mentor, and teach instructors how to improve their teaching.
So with all the evolution that CTL has gone through in its history, What is coming up in the 2022-2023 academic year?
Well, we've heard from our instructors at the U of A that the strategy we used during the 2 years of the pandemic, the Wednesday webinars, every Wednesday at 2 o'clock, CTL offers a short 15-minute instruction opportunity, a chance to learn about some aspect of teaching from one of our educational developers. And we heard loud and clear during the pandemic that this strategy was really effective because, you can step away for 15 minutes with a cup of coffee to catch a few ideas about teaching. And into the present day, we heard that the webinars were so popular that instructors wanted us to continue them. So we think of our Wednesday webinars as a chance to start the conversation, give you a few practical ideas about teaching, and also to connect with the members of our Centre for Teaching and Learning, and possibly continue the conversation with a consultation. We also heard during the 2 years of the pandemic that instructors really missed the chance to have conversations about teaching with their colleagues in the hallway. They were isolated at home, and they didn't always have a chance to talk about what was happening in their courses. So now in this year, we're offering communities of practice, largely led by Mandy and Del Beer, two of our educational developers, as a chance to connect and build community with other instructors who are interested in talking about their teaching. So we've had some great feedback about these opportunities to connect and talk about teaching in a less formal way than, say, a webinar or an event, for instance. We are moving in the direction of offering longer webinars or in-person workshops like prior to the pandemic. We're gauging interest from instructors on what the topics might be, and as well as getting a sense of what the comfort level would be for participating in in-person learning. Again, in our B12 classroom here in Cameron Library. We're also planning some changes to the CTL website. Many of you might have noticed that during the 2 years of the pandemic, we posted all kinds of resources on the CTL website, and we received lots of great feedback about those very practical resources for getting through a difficult transition time. We've accumulated a lot of information on our CTL website, and we're looking for a way to make it easier to navigate our website. So look for changes in 2023 to the CTL website. Those are some of the major initiatives for the 2022-2023 academic year.
So you talked a little bit about the kind of changes that have happened at the U of A, and there seems to be new issues and challenges always coming up. So what kind of trends in post-secondary teaching and learning are on the rise right now, and how do you foresee these influencing the U of A community in the near future?
These are changing social times, both in the university and outside of the university, and there are a number of initiatives coming down through the Vice Provost's office and a groundswell for change in teaching and learning related to equity, diversity, and inclusivity, indigenization and decolonization. The university is continuing to need support with online and now hybrid instruction with some of our hybrid classrooms that some courses are engaging in, sometimes for the first time this year. And so there are portfolio teams within our Center for Teaching and Learning that are being developed relating to these key topics of our current moment in post-secondary teaching and learning. We also recognize that we have many, many areas of expertise and resources available to instructors, but we're looking at a way we can develop a professional pathway for instructors who are looking for development in post-secondary teaching.
How is the Center for Teaching and Learning growing and changing to meet the needs and realities of the U of A instructors?
In recent history at CTL, we had 4 educational developers for the whole university. And clearly when the pandemic broke out, it became very, very clear that it wasn't enough of a staff for the whole university and all of the needs of instructors who were going through a tremendous time in their teaching evolution in order to to teach online. So the center has been undergoing a growth period. And while 4 educational developers were the core of our center prior to the pandemic, we now have our center organized by 7 different portfolio areas. So each portfolio area is led by a lead educational developer, and the 7 portfolio areas represent the key areas or initiatives of the Center for Teaching and Learning. This strategic direction is set by our executive director, Tommy Mayberry, who has been with us for just over a year. And if you'd like to learn a little bit more about the different portfolios offered by our center, then I encourage you to look at the CTL at ualberta.ca page, our homepage, and click on About. And you can learn about all of the different areas of expertise in the different members of our center. I think that there will always be a need for some of the practical aspects of teaching, preparing a course, how to manage classrooms, how to engage students, assessing students. There will always be a need for instructors to learn some of these core aspects of teaching at a university. What has been changing in our recent times is the scope of educational development, the scope of the kind of work that we do at Centers for Teaching and Learning like ours has been growing to encompass greater technologies, for example, through online, hybrid, new educational technologies necessary to teaching and learning, as well as aspects of teaching and learning that in the past haven't been considered, how to include the diverse range of students and how to include different needs of students, how to make sure that we are making efforts to better understand the recommendations from the Truth and Reconciliations Commission and how that impacts teaching and learning within universities. So the scope of what Centers for Teaching and Learning do has been broadening as a result of recent changes within and outside the university. And this shapes the teaching and learning here at our university.
What's great about collaborating and learning at CTL?
I think we've made great efforts to create opportunities to connect with CTL, no matter how busy you are in your teaching, no matter where you are in your teaching, whether you're just starting out in university teaching, whether you are a sessional instructor, whether you are a tenured faculty member who's been with the university and teaching for a very long time, whether you're interested in using technologies or whether you are interested in having opportunities to engage more directly with your students in the classroom. We developed over the course of the last couple of years all kinds of asynchronous resources if you wanted to get in touch with CTL at any time through our website. You can listen to our podcasts, you can check out our web resources. You can watch the videos. So if you couldn't attend the Online Teaching Institute, well, the videos are available on our website. If you didn't have a chance to make it to that Wednesday webinar, then it's archived on our website. We also have opportunities if you'd like to connect synchronously, but you are a bit more of a reluctant participant, then you can sit and watch a Wednesday webinar. If you'd like to participate in events and have a chance to share ideas in the chat with other instructors, we have events. If you would like to have more deeper conversations with instructors around aspects of teaching and learning, then you can engage in a synchronous community of practice. Those are available to you. We do consultations, so if you are not comfortable talking about teaching with lots of other instructors, or you just like it to be directly related to whatever's happening for you in your specific course or in your specific situation, you can request a consultation on the CTL website, and we can connect you with the right educational developer for your concern. And you can either meet with that individual over Zoom, And you can meet with them in person if you'd prefer and you're more comfortable doing so. And we have been known to pick up the telephone if that's how you would like to connect with us. We also offer classroom observations if you'd like someone with teaching expertise to come and sit at the back of your room or observe an online class and then give you confidential feedback afterwards. We also have opportunities at CTL for you to share some of the stories of your own teaching successes by participating in a conference-like event called the Festival of Teaching and Learning. Or if you have a super innovative idea about teaching, then come and record a podcast with us. And we can showcase what you're doing in your teaching that is really unique. Because we're also here to celebrate what's going right in your teaching. And so that other instructors can learn from you as well. You know what else? I'd really like you to know that the folks here at CTL, they're not only experts in teaching, but they really care deeply about improving teaching. And they like working with instructors and hearing about how things are going and how we can give them suggestions and give them things to think about to improve teaching. So we're very fortunate here at the center to have a group of people who are engaging and fun and very keen to share their ideas and cutting edge ideas about what's happening in post-secondary education. So I hope you'll take this as an invitation to come and connect with us and talk about your teaching. We would love to share some ideas with you.
Thank you to Dr. Cosette Lemelin for speaking to us about what CTL has to offer and the exciting projects that are coming up in the near future.
This podcast was written and produced in Amiskwichi, Waskahigan, otherwise known as Edmonton, on Treaty 6 territory, home of the Cree, Dene, Nakota Sioux, Blackfoot, Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Inuit, the Métis, and many other Indigenous peoples.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Teaching Plus. This podcast has been created by the University of Alberta's Centre for Teaching and Learning. You can get more information on any of our services by going to ctl.ualberta.ca.